What if one woman's vision could transform science education for millions of students worldwide? Meet Dr. Khadija El-Bedweihy, the CEO and founder of PraxiLabs, the game-changing platform bringing virtual labs to every corner of the globe. Her story will absolutely amaze you. Let's dive in. What is your name and where are you from?
Hello, my name is Khadija El-Bedweihy and I'm the founder of PraxiLabs.
What was your school science lab like growing up?
So basically, growing up and going to a private school in Egypt, sometimes you have the luxury to go to a lab, but it's not all the time. So for example, we could do some of the experiments, the basic ones, the chemistry basic experiments in the lab, but some of the experiments could be dangerous and we couldn't do them in the lab at all. Our professors or our teachers were afraid for our safety. Some of the other experiments, for example, were really expensive and we couldn't even afford having them inside the lab. And even if we go to the lab, usually you need to get the experiment right from the first time. You don't have time to do it more than once. And sometimes we even stand there, 5 or 6 students, sharing the equipment together. So it's not really the best user experience, I would say. And it just ends in students not interested in STEM or just not learning the concept at hand in the correct way.
How did it feel to learn science only from books?
Yeah, it happened a lot of times. I think that was one of the reasons I wasn't interested in science because, if you don't understand it, like something, you need a hands-on to really understand it. So for example, now, when I show my nephew the experiments he's studying, and he's in grade 6, on PraxiLabs, for example, or in virtual experiments, he understands it immediately. But when he studies it from a book, he doesn't understand anything. Like when I tell him, this is the acceleration, what is it about? But when he sees it in front of him and when he tries it by himself, like hands-on, he really gets it immediately. I think that's the main difference.
Do you remember the moment the idea for PraxiLabs came to you?
So after finishing my bachelor from Cairo University in Egypt and traveled to have my PhD from the University of Sheffield, there, even though it's an advanced country and really one of the top universities, still they almost had the same problems. So access to the labs were limited. Some of the experiments were really expensive and students would go to the lab to do it only once. So seeing the same kind of problems or challenges to the traditional labs at advanced countries and knowing that we have the same kind of challenges at our emerging countries felt like there should be a solution to that problem. And because my studies were into human-computer interaction, so basically focusing on user experience, that's when I felt there must be a solution. And when I returned back after my PhD, that was my focus, and that's how it started.
How does PraxiLabs actually work?
It's very interesting to see how PraxiLabs work in reality. So let's say a student wants to see the platform and practice their experiments. So they open the laptop, the browser, and they can see a virtual experiment or a virtual environment mimicking the real lab exactly. So the same tools, the same equipment would be there on the bench, and they would do the experiment step by step as they would do it in the real lab. So like taking a pipette, taking the solution, for example, putting it together, putting it in the water bath. So like you have a DNA extraction experiment, you would do it exactly like you would do in the real lab, knowing every single step and practicing all the time. Like you don't have any limitations on expenses, on safety, on anything. So you can do the experiment, physics, chemistry, biology, on the virtual experience or the virtual environment. And it's very impressive that it's really immersive for the students and they get to know all the concepts.
What kind of experiments can students do on it, perform?
So like I was saying, we have more than 210 experiments across physics, chemistry, and biology. And that's what students can do. They can either be a university student or a high school student taking this kind of experiments. And they come from all faculties. So for example, faculty of medicine, science, pharmacy, engineering, all these students are studying every day physics and chemistry and biology experiments. This is what they can do on PraxiLabs platform.
Why is access to a science lab so hard for many schools?
Let's take it according to regions, for example, or according to how the countries are doing it. So in emerging countries, one of the very important challenges is actually the access. Some of the universities do not have labs at all to begin with. And some of the universities, when they do have the labs, the access is restricted. It's very limited. You can go to the lab, for example, 3 hours in the whole week, and you need to do all your experiments of that week in the 3 hours. So usually, no student can do it on their own. There are 5, 6, or 10 students sharing the same equipment and doing it. So that's very inefficient. It does not make sense for the students to learn to learn the concept. So that's the first problem. And then the second problem is also, even if you are not an emerging country and in a developed country like the UK or Norway, we've been visiting these countries, and they also have the same problem because it's a physical place, it's limited. You cannot go there 24/7, as opposed to a virtual environment where you can go and use it all the time on your laptop. That's completely different. Access is restricted when it comes to traditional labs.
Why do you think virtual labs can be just as powerful as physical ones?
Okay, that's a difficult question. They are not as powerful, and they cannot replace real labs. So the virtual labs, we always say that they complement the real labs. So basically, if you have the real lab, and we said that the access is limited, yes, you can go there, but maybe once. So the virtual experiments, and these are studies done by a lot of universities in the UK, shows that you can get the knowledge, like 70% of the knowledge needed for the experiments through the virtual environment. So you know the steps, you know how it looks like, you know the safety instructions, etc. And then you can go to the real lab only once, for example, at the very end to do the certain things that are not doable in the virtual environment, like the senses. You can do the pipetting, for example, and so on. So it's powerful in getting as much as 70% of your knowledge. And then you need the real lab because some senses are not yet doable in the virtual environment. This is how we see it always. They are complementing each other. They cannot replace each other.
What did you learn from not making it to the top 50 at ABH 2019?
So after watching Omar getting in the second place in ABH, that's when I just first knew about it. And we applied. We didn't even make it to the top 50. And I was like, yeah, it's a rejection. It's not something good. But at the same time, it showed us that we are not ready. It was like really, really too early for us. We just got our second version of the product. We did not have traction, like few universities, and we understood that there's so much progress for us. There's so much work to do. And that's why we kept working on it.
What made you apply to ABH again in 2021?
One of the things I learned growing up is that you don't give up. And you keep consistent, you keep persistent, and you keep trying. And you'll get there. So, and yeah, as long as you can just do your best, you need to just keep really hustling. So basically, this is what we do at the team. We keep working towards our goals, and we don't give up. So yeah, we didn't make it to the top 50. But after 2 years, we knew that there's so much progress that we've done, and we were so optimistic that we are gonna make it. And yeah, we did it.
How did it feel to win the second time around?
I'm smiling now because it feels really nice. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was very, it was really pride. So we had like, I'm trying to remember like hundreds, not hundreds actually, thousands of applications filtered, and then from them, top 50. Going from top 50 to top 20, then top 10. And then the top 10, it was a live like question answers. And the judges were really, really like top prestigious judges. And it was very difficult. I felt like, you know, like they are examining us in every certain aspect on the business and on the impact and on Africa. It was very tough, but I believe that we were on top of it and we knew every single thing that they wanted to ask about, and we were ready. We did a lot of effort. Honestly, the whole team was behind me. I keep telling them, I'm just representing you. Yes, I'm the one talking, but I'm representing the whole team. And we all worked very, very hard to win that competition. And it was a very, very proud moment.
What kind of students or schools are using PraxiLabs today?
A lot of students and schools and universities and ministries of education as well. So a quick brief about that. We work with universities in more than 16 different countries. That's like B2B. So for example, the university comes to us, says we want to use PraxiLabs for our students. So we work with them in the UK, in the US, in Philippines, in Romania, Latin America, in Canada. We work in a lot of different countries, and of course, in the MENA region as well. And this is how it works. The university pays for it for their students. We also work with ministries of education, like the UAE Ministry of Education is using PraxiLabs today for all the public schools there. And we work as well with schools. So public and private schools can come to us and just get PraxiLabs for their students, especially in high school, which is really intersecting with the portfolio of experiment that we have. And beside this, if you're a student or a professor on your own, you can go to our website and just take PraxiLabs and keep studying as you want.
What would you say to a girl who wants to build something like this?
My advice for boys and girls would be the same. It's that they need to work hard and put the effort. So basically, one of the quotes I always say, and I tell the whole team here, and this is how I was grown up and I was raised. Dreams are not attained by wishful thinking, but rather by hard work. So it means that just don't lie and just say, yeah, I would like to be the winner of ABH, or I want to do a PraxiLabs platform, whatever. Your dream, you put it in front of you as a goal and you need to go for it. You need to do all the work and all the efforts. So if you're a girl and you really want to be as PraxiLabs and do a business like it and be an ABH winner, just do all the effort for it, and I'm sure that you can do it.
What impact do you want PraxiLabs to make on Africa's future?
You know, when we say PraxiLabs vision, we don't really just say it. We really live for it. So one of the things we are always dreaming of is how can we change Africa's future in terms of education? We have a lot of challenges, but one of the really, really shocking statistics, when you come to see the research output from Africa, we have huge opportunities. We have youth. We have a lot of people who are talented and well equipped to do better than what we are doing now. Statistics show that we have like less than 1% of the output of research in the whole world. That doesn't make sense. And to make this better, to make sure that we bridge the gap between STEM graduates and STEM students, we really need to make them study sciences, practice experiments, love STEM. And that's what we are aiming for. We want to have PraxiLabs available for all students across Africa, in every single university and in every single school. That's when we believe Africa will change in terms of education, specifically STEM education.
Incredible, right? Dr. Khadijah is revolutionizing science education with PraxiLabs, making virtual laboratories accessible to students anytime and everywhere. Click the like button and subscribe for more insightful videos. For more details, visit the PraxiLabs website.